Well, it seems that the NFL just cannot help itself in regards to providing us all with examples of wokeness. The newest example being the case of one Jon GruDONE, head coach of I was going to say Oakland, but it's the Las Vegas Raiders now. I just have to get my comment, my thoughts on this situation out about what's going on with Gruden. In fairness, I haven't read all his emails, obviously. I don't care that much about it, to be quite honest with you. And that's sort of the point. Why do people care that much about somebody's private emails? The way this story started, as far as I became aware of it, was this idea. So I watch Jason Whitlock a lot, and if you're not watching Jason Whitlock, you're just, you know, you're missing out on something. But the thing is that um, he was talking about Randy Moss crying about what came out of these emails, and it's insane what society has turned into, what's on demonstration for us. Grown men crying on ESPN because Jon Gruden thinks that DeMaurice Smith has big lips. I don't remember what DeMaurice Smith looks like. I seen him a couple times. He's the head of the players union. To be honest, he's terrible at his job. And but I think he has big lips. You know, so once again, we've got an NFL coach in trouble for saying something that's true. I'm seeing a pattern here. I did a video about Urban Meyer when they were really upset because Urban Meyer dared to comply with the NFL rule about vaccine mandate and actually admitted to doing it. They weren't upset that he was complying. They were upset that he said he was complying. That the rule that the NFL came up with and the players union, headed by DeMaurice Smith, agreed and said they wanted everybody to know, the teams to know and to consider. When Urban dared admit he considered it, that was a problem. And I might put the link down for that video in case somebody wants to see what I was talking about there. I just rewatched it just to make sure to see if there was anything pertinent to maybe what I want to discuss here. And I stand by everything I said in that video. And nobody's watched it. Nobody watches a lot of my videos, but that's another thing too. If you do like what my opinion, if you see a video that you think is important for people to consider, I would ask that you like and share it. I don't ask that often. I'm certainly not asking for anything else. Um, but it just seems to me that with the inundation of everybody else's opinion out there, if there's something that I'm saying that is of value to the greater conversation, I would just ask that uh, try and share it because nobody's really watching it, and maybe that's deserving. So I mean, maybe it's just not quality content, and that's certainly possible. Certainly, I'm not one to judge it. I'm biased, right? So, but back to Gruden. So I just the thing that is interesting about some of this stuff, and what I find to be crazy about it is just the way that you got a grown man crying on ESPN because a email came out. One of the things that was interesting about what Jason Whitlock said was he said that um, Randy Moss is crying over something a white man said, and he hypothesized that when Randy found out about what Whitlock said about his crying, that Randy would would threaten violence, and that is exactly what Randy did. So he says, notice what happens. You're offended or disrespected by a black man and you go violent, but you cry when a white man says something about somebody else. The contrast is crazy. So to me, it shows you it's fake. Like how much money are they getting paid to cry, to care? This is something that's important to understand. The whole system in front of us is nothing but an optical illusion. It's all completely fake. The outrage is fake. The moral superiority that they claim to have is fake. I mean, these are guys. First of all, these are guys. let's start. Let's start there. I'm a guy, and I'm on the low spectrum in regards to how I speak to other guys. Something that people need to be aware of, I suppose. I thought we were, but maybe not. Guys talk to each other in ways that sometimes, you know, might sound insulting because we kid each other, right? We cut each other down. Guys aren't necessarily like girls. We don't brush each other's hair, and we don't look at each other's how we fit in outfits and talk about that sort of thing. When we want to compliment somebody, we typically will insult them. It's a bonding thing. That's how we are. It gets amped up with testosterone in locker rooms. So foul things are said in locker rooms. These people come from locker rooms. So the whole thing about them being so emotionally scarred from something that a coach who also is often in a locker room would say is fake. There's no other way to say it. It's fraudulent. And to sit up there and just pretend that you're emotionally harmed is a clue that what we see on TV for the most part is all theatrical. I mean, you think that when you tune into somebody just giving you the news, whether it be sports or political general news, that you're getting that's the reality TV, right? I mean, we know reality TV in and of itself is staged. We know this, or most people know this. They stage it in, in a large part. It isn't just, it isn't just random. Nothing that is put on display for us, as far as all these major networks are concerned, is random. It's all chosen. It's all edited. They have editors for a reason, and they're telling them, we want you to do this, we want you to do this, we want you to seem to feel this way. They're actors. They're getting paid to do a job. And so the idea that we're supposed to as a public be swayed and moved in these ways, it's to me a non-starter, and it's something that if we're doing, we are doing that. A large part of our population is being swayed by this, is being maneuvered and positioned into these odd. Society is being restructured by these 1% of the 1% corporations that control the narrative for us, and that's something that the general population needs to wake up to and stop being manipulated by this. And this is something that happens, right? People are harmed. So Jon GruDONE, and look, he's going to be fine. It doesn't matter. But his reputation, like he's being dragged through the mud for speaking in a way that all of them, let's not pretend ourselves, all of these guys speak this way. They do. How many people are sitting up there crying or showing their ass about being outraged when not only have they spoke this way, they will continue to speak this way in private? How many of these people are feigning moral outrage about emails that Jon GruDONE did like 10 years ago, that are going, oh yeah, I would never do this. In fact, let me show you all my emails. Let me show you all my texts. Are they revealing all their stuff to everybody in public? No, they're not doing that. They're just stand up there and condemn. It reminds me of the Harvey Weinstein scenario when Harvey Weinstein was outed as being a perv and using his position of power against women. Uh, yeah, we knew this. I mean, we wasn't quite public knowledge. I don't think that Harvey Weinstein specifically. There's this term called casting couch that everybody is aware of. Everybody knows what this means. The idea that it actually exists, and all the people in Hollywood go, "Oh my God, we didn't know Harvey." Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Every one of them, and all these women whose careers were started by this guy. What are they gonna do? They're gonna pretend, just like Randy Moss is crying and pretending that these hurt emails hurt his fragile feelings. They're going to pretend they didn't ever see this side of Harvey Weinstein, because you know what the logical understanding of that would be? How did you get successful? What did you do for Harvey to have him launch your career? That's what they want to avoid, being having people connect those dots. Oh my gosh, Harvey's a perp. Who knew? It's like, yeah. And so you got these people being thrown out as scapegoats, and it's fine in a certain way because GruDONE said the things he said. Harvey, it was a perv. But here's where it's not fine. When people pretend that they're the outliers, like, oh, we found one guy who's doing bad things. We're going to get rid of him. The NFL is a complete hypocritical joke. These people, if you remember the Ray Rice situation, the word was out that he punched his fiance and knocked her out, and he was given a 4-game suspension, okay, for doing this. Oh, the NFL snapped into action. Then the video came out, and then he was given a year suspension. Others go, oh, well, now they know the severity. No, it was the optics. They had to respond because of the optics. It makes me wonder how much stuff happens, and because it doesn't get out in the public, nothing is ever done about it. How much of that stuff takes place? I remember watching or reading an article about a tight end, and I can't remember the guy's name. That probably wouldn't pay to even say if I did, but he absolutely raped a woman on campus. And what ended up happening was all these coaches were on this team. They all got jobs in the NFL. The tight end, he went on to have a moderately successful career in the NFL. Nothing ever happened to him. The girl actually was forced to leave school for shame. She was shamed out of school. And this wasn't one of these rapes that, we get nowadays where it's, uh, they have, sometimes you look at it and you go, yeah, was it really rape, or are you just, you upset about your decision, and now everybody's found out and you're kind of blaming the guy for something, a bad decision that you also made. But in this case, no. The way the article was presented, which is all I was going on. But anyway, the point is this: the NFL is terrible, and they have no right to pretend. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to present their own image. They're trying to protect their own image and project this great image of somebody who cares about these things. Oh my gosh, Jon GruDONE thinks DeMaurice Smith has big lips. And of course the racism stuff comes out. The racism stuff. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson, he seemingly seems to have abused a lot of women, and he hadn't lost his job. Now, he's not playing, but you don't know, because there was already an issue where Deshaun Watson didn't even want to play. So you don't know. I would really like to know if what would have happened if that hadn't transpired before this all came out. But anyway, the thing that people really need to focus in on this is the fact that the the hypocrisy of this, right? So imagine, so Jon Gruden is a terrible person because because he believes DeMaurice Smith has big lips. My understanding is DeMaurice Smith has big lips. Why is that racist to point that out? Why is that racist? You know what's not racist? When everybody was talking about Donald Trump having orange skin, everybody making fun of his hair. Because let me tell you something, both those things are white characteristics. Are we, I mean, am I wrong on that? That awkward hair that Trump has? Black people don't have awkward hair like that, okay? I've heard of high yellow, never heard of orange black people, right? That's something only a white person would deal with, right? Nobody was coming to Donald Trump's defense and going, "How dare you speak racist? You racist, how dare you?" Nobody was saying that stuff. And you see how this is like they pick and choose when they want to come out with this racial attack, you know, all to scapegoat somebody, all to force their hand, to force them to quit. And here's the hypocrisy that to me is like the giant blinking exclamation point for this whole thing. The halftime show for Super Bowl was supposed to be like Dr. Dre, Eminem, I forget the other rappers involved. Here's what Jon Gruden should do. He should call a press conference and he should say, "I want to talk about how terrible I feel about what I've said, and part of the apology would be to admit other wrongs, and I want to give you other things that I have said." And then he should just break out some lyrics from Dr. Dre and from Eminem. I have to catch that in a bit. He's and the I thought about doing that on this video, pulling up some of these lyrics, but I didn't want to have my video have those disgusting lyrics in it. But Jon should do that, and he should make every person in that press conference squeamish and feel awkward as hell about what he's sitting there saying. And then he should go, "Oops, nope, that's not what I said. That's what Dr. Dre said. Oops, nope, that's not what I said. That's what Eminem said." And guess what? They said it publicly. And guess what? They made tons of money off of it. And guess what? They're fixing to be promoted by the NFL, and they're fixing to be paraded out there in the halftime show. And the biggest time when most eyes are glued to the TV, that's what the NFL is going to promote. The same organization that's going to come after me for private emails. You notice what happens here? Where they can do in public 10 times more disgusting things, and they condemn somebody who says something in private. You notice that insanity? So this is what we can learn. It's all optics. They are frauds, and they are the worst of us, and they are controlling a lot of what's above us, and we shouldn't fall for it. We dang sure shouldn't pile on to somebody like Jon Gruden, because when you do that, yeah, did Jon Gruden sin? Okay, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not standing here or sitting here uh, uh, defending what he said. I'm not even positive about all the stuff that's in there about what he did, what he had in his emails. Okay, I'm not. What I'm saying is that those people are hypocrites. It's a worse sin to sit there and sin and then teach others to do likewise. That's what Jesus said. That's the worst sin. To hide a sin is a sin. To promote sins like the NFL is doing, that's way worse. And to sit up there with this self-righteousness and pretend that they don't have that sin is disgusting and is another sin. It lacks humanity. It lacks empathy for being human. We all sin. We all fall short of the glory of God. And that's the problem that we have, is we have these anti-biblical, anti-Christ, this whole anti-Christ system is playing this optical game for us. And some of us are falling for it. We're sitting there going, "Yeah, Jon Gruden's bad," not realizing what's going on, that they're playing our goodness against us, and they're sacrificing some guy who emails 10 years ago, and now he's lost his job. And it's just one of the things I talked about in that urban video that I did, and I'll see if I link it here because I think it's pertinent to what we're talking about. It shows how fake this whole system is. And that's what's important about this Gruden conversation. It's the reaction that the NFL has in stark contrast to how the NFL itself behaves. And that's how this whole system operates.